Hey everyone, happy Friday and welcome back to the Women Kickballs YouTube channel. My name is Jackie and I'm the founder of Women Kickballs, and so yeah, just want to start off by saying happy, I guess, like belated Thanksgiving, if that's what you're gonna call it, or whatever. I know today is Black Friday, so like my email's been blowing up. There's lots of stuff going out, so if you're watching this on Friday, appreciate you taking the time, as I know there's just lots going on. So yeah, today's video is going to be about some of my career insight, and this is honestly probably one of my favorite video series to do here on YouTube, just because I grew up wanting to be a sports journalist for women's soccer, but never really had anyone to learn from. And so I've been on this career journey for 8 years and have just literally had to make like my own kind of just framework of how I wanted to pursue this career. So very excited to dive into some of the topics and share a few examples and like stories about just some of my career experience and what that looks like. But the main overall theme that I wanted to talk about was taking risk in your career. And I know that can sound super scary, but I promise, just stick with me. There's lots to cover, but again, I'm going to try to be super concise here. But if you are interested in learning more or you like these video series, I just wanted to put it out there that I do also have Patreon videos that go out every week, so you can check out the link right here. It'll also be in the description box. But basically the $9.99 tier a month includes 4 videos for the month, and I just dive into like what I'm doing that week or just stuff that I've learned, really give you the behind the scenes aspects of what it's like running Women Kickballs. So also if you want any resources regarding how to get involved in the career industry, I'll also include a snippet towards the end of this video talking about one of my favorite resources. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So I did want to give you a little bit of context, just because you might see me on social media or just you might be subscribed to my emails but not fully know exactly my story or what this process has been like for me. So want to just kind of give a quick Cliff Note summary version of that. But basically, I started writing about women's soccer when I was 17 years old. I was super determined to be a sports journalist, but also had just some people in my life that discouraged me or didn't believe in me. I didn't believe in myself. I doubted myself a lot. And if it wasn't for my Uncle Joe, I wouldn't be pursuing this career, because he really believed in me and just encouraged me and has always pushed me in the best ways possible. So I really contribute a lot of just my growth to him. And so I always think it's super important to find yourself an Uncle Joe that can really help push you, motivate you. And they don't have to be involved in the soccer world. My uncle is a lawyer, but he just has a lot of just very unique ideas, and he's a good person to kind of just brainstorm things with. So find yourself an Uncle Joe is the first thing to do. But additionally, with that, I have also done a lot of marketing work as well. I have my master's degree in journalism, and so just in my education, going to college also felt very separate from just what I wanted to do in the sports world. And so I've always done marketing and just freelance work in that way. I've had a few full-time jobs in random industries. And so I know what it's like to be, the only female in the room or the youngest female in the room in a lot of male-dominated industries. And so I've really built up like marketing departments from the ground up in some of my like full-time corporate-ish jobs. So yeah, I've always done that, and it wasn't until this year, 2022, in April, I left my full-time PR job and took a risk in taking on some freelance work. I was supposed to go full-time with this freelance gig that I had. Didn't happen, but a lot of really incredible other things have happened. I've gained some more clients, and so that's how that's one of my main forms of my revenue streams, is building up just the client work that I have and offering media and marketing services. And so that's super fun. A lot of my clients are in the sports world, whether they're like athletes or sports organizations. So that varies a lot from copywriting, photographing, doing video, just different things, website stuff. So I have a lot of skills. But yeah, and then a lot of the stuff that a lot of people see me on is reporting on the NWSL. I'm based in Southern California, so this year has been really cool to have 2 teams here, and which kind of brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about really quickly. But speaking of risk, I took a big risk in May when I came up with this idea of creating a magazine that captures both Angel City and San Diego Wave's first year in the NWSL. Now, like I said, I'm from Southern California, so this was crazy going from attending 0 games in my home market to attending 27 games this season. I've been to a few other games, in terms of traveling to them, but yeah, this was like the first like real season that I got to experience in person, which was really awesome. And so in May, I just had this idea and decided to go for it. Took this huge risk in designing the magazine, writing all of the stories, including my photographs, getting all the ad sponsors for it. And now I'm hosting 2 magazine launch parties for it. And so there's a lot of work. And as I've been talking just to like people within the soccer world and even my personal friends outside of the soccer world, they've always asked me like, oh, how did you know this was going to be a good idea? And I said, I didn't. I just thought it sounded cool. And, you know, that's kind of like my bread and butter is like always, well, first writing, but also like mixing all these creative elements as well. And the magazine was a really cool process for that. So yeah, if you're in SoCal, be sure to check out the link in the description box. I have 2 events coming up in LA, San Diego. So want to invite you all to that. But that's kind of like a snippet background and like a real life example of one of the projects that I'm working on that involved a huge risk. So basically what I mean by taking risk is that, like I mentioned, I didn't have anyone to really like look up to. There wasn't anyone who was doing like marketing and all the creative aspects of storytelling and like writing about women's soccer. If anything, what I've had to do, especially as a young professional, is I've had to like take experiences from the people that I meet and just kind of take snippets of things like, oh, I really like how they ask questions, or I really like how they conduct themselves in this setting, or whatever. And I take all the things that I like from the people in my environment, whether I know them personally or just from a distance or like on social media, whatever. I take all these things that I like about these people and I kind of just strive to like do that in my work. And so I know that sounds kind of weird, but I think like almost taking just the different aspects of your inspirations and making them into like, you know, just kind of the dream job or career that you want to see is really important. Okay, so I wasn't going to do this, but I just, as I was talking about this, this book came to mind. It's called Steal Like an Artist. It's by one of my favorite authors, Austin Kleon, and it's a really short read. Got this copy autographed, which is really cool. But yeah, super great book, and it talks a lot about just ideas and how to kind of go about like, yeah, making, just really like taking that jump, taking that leap to like get outside of your head and to put some of your ideas into practice. So if you're looking to like, you know, take that step, I highly recommend this book. It's not expensive at all. Again, super short read, a lot of great stuff in here, but this really helped me to kind of throughout my career also have the confidence and just allowed me to like brainstorm things too, think outside the box a little bit more. So highly recommend this book if you are listening to this video or watching it and you're thinking like, I don't know exactly what to do. So that wasn't like one of the resources I wanted to share, but something that just made me think of it as I was sharing this info. But whenever I'm at a soccer game or any type of like a soccer clinic that I'm shooting or whatever, I always take the initiative to introduce myself to people. I think that's really important, and it goes a long way. So even if you just, whether it's like a parent of a kid or just a staff member, like, you know, at check-in tables or whatever, just like take the initiative to introduce yourself to people. People really like that. And even if it's someone that you like admire that you want to meet and you're in the same like room as them, introduce yourself. Like I've done it tons of times where I'm super scared and nervous to introduce myself, but at the end of the day, like that's your opportunity to really like, you know, put yourself out there, just make the intro. And mind you, when you're making the intro, like you don't need to give your whole like, you know, elevator speech or anything, or like tell them like the ins and outs of what you do. You don't need to ask for a job or anything like that. But just like, for example, whenever I like see someone that I want to like introduce myself to, whether just like as a good mutual connection or someone that I look up to, I always just say, hey, my name's Jackie at Women Kick Balls. You know, if I admire their work, I'll let them know, whatever. And so I just keep it super short, super simple. And, you know, usually they're excited for people to come like talk to them too. So, or they're excited just to like meet someone new. So, you know, just don't be super weird or awkward, just be normal. And I feel like that goes a long way. And I wanted to give an example of this. So shout out to Sophia, because I met Sophia at the NWSL Championship Media Day just a few weeks ago in Washington, D.C. And I was, it was kind of like a little bit of a break in between interviews. And so I was at my computer, honestly, just like deleting emails and finally like having the chance to go through my email inbox because it got so messy towards the end of the season with lots of emails and updates. So I was just literally like going through email, like deleting emails. And Sophia comes up to me and says, hey, my name's Sophia. Like, I'm a big fan of your work, and I just subscribed to Women Kick Balls, like loved getting my, like, your, you know, the note in the mail, like super cool, and just kind of gave like a quick intro and whatever. And it was really nice just to meet Sophia. We started talking about like what she was, you know, they're doing an internship and whatever. And so it was a really cool connection. And she said, you know, so sorry to bother you. I didn't want to, you know, intrude on what you were doing. And I said, honestly, like, it's fine. I wasn't doing anything important. And it was really cool because Sophia said, yeah, like, as we were talking more in the conversation, she said, yeah, you know, I was asking my friends, like, whether or not, like, that was you. I couldn't tell. I wasn't sure. I looked you up on social media, and I said, Sophia, like, no worries. I literally have done that so many times where, like, I want to go and talk to someone. I'm nervous, or I'm like, oh, is that really them? So I go look them up on social media. I said, I've done it plenty of times, but the fact that you came up and introduced yourself is, like, such a huge step. So props to you for doing that. Also great to meet you as well. And then, like, the next day on game day, Sophia and I were actually, like, standing together on the sidelines, like, you know, getting our content, whatever. I was taking photos, videos, she was doing video, and we were just talking throughout the entire game. And it was such a great conversation because usually I'm, like, photographing stuff, like, alone on the sidelines, but it was really cool to have Sophia to talk to, ask her questions, get to know her more, and just people like that. I feel like the Sophias in the world who are, like, eager to learn, but, like, also have natural conversations, you know, they aren't just wanting stuff from you and, like, hey, how can I get, you know, this or that from you, whatever. Like, they're just people who want to learn, and you can tell, but they're able to hold good conversations as well. And you could just see the curiosity and the ways that they are excited about your work as well, and they believe in what you do. And so I think just having those conversations really does go a long way. And so that's just an example of taking a risk, because had Sophia not introduced me or herself to me, like, I probably, like, I'm terrible with faces, so I probably wouldn't have, like, made the connection that, like, she followed me, whatever. And so I think it's just really important to, like, yeah, take the step to introduce yourself. I've done it to, like, people that I admire or just people in my network, and sometimes it's gone really well. It's only a few times gone, like, really awkwardly, but, like, don't let those things trip you up, because at the end of the day, like, putting yourself out there is important, and you never know what could happen, but, like, never make the connection because you're trying to get something out of it. Just make the connection because you want to, and from that, like, things can happen later on, but people will remember you. People will make the connection of, like, oh, I met you at this thing, and, like, you know, now you have kind of that starting ground. So again, a lot of info here. So I did want to include a resource that's been very helpful for me personally. I'll be honest, when I heard about this group, Women in Soccer, I was like, oh man, this would have been so cool if this existed like 5 years ago, whatever, when I was starting my career. So lots of growth and just work has been happening in the soccer industry for this network to exist. So Women in Soccer is an organization where it's a network of men, women, and other allies as well, who are all about just diversity and inclusion and growing the game together. And so it's really cool. It's totally free to make a profile. And so on your profile, you can have like what your interests are, what your roles are, if you're a student and you're wanting an internship, or if you're like me, where you're freelance and you're available to work, whatever, or if you're a coach. There's so many different ways that you can get involved in Women in Soccer. And they post a lot of different, they have a job board as well, so you can get a lot of great info. They also host different like networking events and seminars online. So there are people from all around the world in this network, and it's totally free, which is cool. They also have a Slack channel if you want to get info that way as well. But shout out to Women in Soccer. Those are some really great people that I enjoyed working with. And yeah, they're actually one of the sponsors in the magazine that I'm publishing. And so again, you can check out the magazine. If you're an email subscriber, you'll have access to purchase it starting Monday, November 28th. And if you're just kind of like a normal person who isn't subscribed, you should subscribe because there's really cool things. Get a free sticker as well to the Women Kick Balls newsletter. But yeah, the magazine will be available starting Monday, December 5th to the general public, so you can check that out. I'll include links when it's all ready to go. But yeah, those are just some of the things that I wanted to talk about in today's video in terms of taking risks, just going for it. Additionally, checking out this book, Steal Like an Artist, and also checking out the resource of Women in Soccer. So shout out to those people. They're really awesome. And yeah, like I said, if you want to dive more into just my kind of like perspective on what it's like, some of the behind the scenes aspects of what I do, you can check out the Patreon channel as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in, and hope you have a good rest of your weekend as well.